This conference will now be recorded.
So she's not homeschooled or anything, right? Okay. All right, it is at 6 o'clock. You are at the City of Port Orford hybrid session of the Parks Commission, February 2nd, 2022, 6 p.m. This meeting is called to order. And first item, you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, and roll call. We have Commissioner Kessler via phone. Clark Kasarek is in person. Councilman Tidy is in person, and myself, Commissioner Brian Thompson. Come again? Oh, for Ciara. Oh, and Ciara's on the call, and I think Jessica, you're on the call?
Yes, I am on the call.
Okay. All right. I think I've identified everybody. Okay.
So Jessica, do we need anything special for Ciara to come back in or just acknowledge that she's here?
No, she's good because she just kind of was on like a sabbatical type of scenario.
Roger that. Cool. We just want to make sure.
So we still need, because she formally resigned, we can at least acknowledge that she's back on Parks. So we'll get to that in just a second, which in fact, we'll do that as part of additions, and we'll do it. Yeah, there you go. Oh, I guess, where do we want to put that? We'll do it earlier. We'll fill her in for Park Coast because I just don't see the Park Coast is here. So she'll be item 4, and that will be the acknowledging.
You can actually do those items under the consent calendar, item 5 too. All those, like the parks and the commission members and volunteers can be under the consent calendar also.
We'll do 5B.
Okay.
Roger that. All right, so citizens concerns.
Okay.
Looks like we have Ms. Phyllis Johns, right?
Wait, who's chair? Thanks. All right, moving right along. Any additions, commissioners, to the agenda? Not at this time, thank you. Eddie, do you have anything to add?
No, I do not.
Betty, anything to add? No. All right, now we have citizens' concerns. Phyllis, you'll have an actual time, which actually I didn't address that. That's kind of old business, so we're going to do that as an 8C for the wetlands. Sorry about that. Yeah, and
Financial report next month.
report. Okay, so that's. Do you guys, anybody want to speak as citizens to anything even outside of primary reasons? Okay. No, oh, now's your time. You got 3 minutes coming up. We welcome your input.
It's not as much a concern as a proposition. I have noticed that one of the benches at Battle Rock Overlook has been out of commission for a while. It's like the main bench right off of the parking lot. And I would love to undertake a project of rebuilding that bench as a memorial bench for my father.
It's a very touchy subject there because of disturbing the ground.
Even just rebuilding.
Oh
the
yeah,
bench?
oh yeah. That the tribes need to be here. We disturb any ground in that area.
So even if you're not digging?
Yes.
Just rebuilding a bench?
You're still digging to put that bench back in the ground. You have to, like, you're gonna dig the bench down, put it back. You not shovel with ground, but yeah, believe me,
okay, so what if I
we can't even get Wi-Fi in the
existing bench and just rebuild the existing bench?
we would have to have the tribe come and
How?
monitor that while you do it.
Wow.
Serious.
Okay.
Being 100% serious.
Wow.
They don't even want us to put Wi-Fi in visitor center buildings in Stripping Ground to dig the line underneath.
Okay, so the bench will just remain broken.
We'll noting it, but
Yeah.
we understand it's broken because
Yeah.
the Battle Rock sign itself was just blown down in the last storm,
Oh,
and we put it back up.
Uh-huh.
So it was this, we just sort of, we didn't put anything in the ground, we just
right.
staked it up.
Okay, well, if it is something that you guys would like to eventually address, I would love to be a part of that and contribute to the wood and the work and a placard as a memorial for my father. If that's
It's
something that's reasonable.
Yeah, and we have some that were ordered, which was, how many? 6, I think, in total, 3 for whoever. And
We had talked about something like that.
so benches is a hot topic, not only benches, but picnic benches and barbecues and job box. Right.
Hey, this is Commissioner Kessler. We do need to, like, it is our responsibility to begin that process of, like, contacting the tribes and Oregon SHPO to make sure. So it's not like it can't happen. I don't want you to think like, hey, it's not going to happen. We just have to start that process. And some of that land might actually is actually even owned by like the Kaiser Foundation, like the actual access down to the beach. So, we have some research to do on our end as well.
Thank you, Eddie.
Cool. Thanks for that. And let's not forget it too. So, okay, item 4 was going to be Buffington Park host, and now we're have shifted, since he's not here, to acknowledging as a board Ciaran Fraser's basic reinstatement. So on to the Parks Commission. So basically that's it. She wants to come back on the board, basically started the Spoon 2.0, formally resigned at that point, and then it's wants to be reinstated. She's on the call right now. And
I'm certainly supportive of reinstating ex-Commissioner Fraser. Is this something we can approve, or does this have to go to city council?
No, we can make it, Jessica, that's fine. I make a motion to approve Ciaran Fraser back to Parks Commission.
Seconded.
Okay, we have a motion by Tidy to reinstate Commissioner Fraser back onto the Parks Commission. We have a second by Commissioner Kasarek. And with that, we'll do any further discussion. Okay, so Commissioner Kessler, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Kasarek?
Yes.
Commissioner Tidy?
Yes.
And Thompson is a yes. So Ciaran, welcome back on the team. We're happy to have you. And since we've been given the green light, once we make that approval, I believe you have full voting for this effective that vote. So
Welcome back.
welcome back. All right. Consent calendar, meeting minutes from December 2022. We tabled the November's, which we haven't addressed even in this. Well, we didn't have it. We had December, but we didn't have it in January. No, we did have it. Did we not? Whatever the former was before December, we tabled them. It's right here. Yeah, lack of availability packets. We're not available to the commissioners in a timely manner. Tidy moved to table the approval of meeting minutes, and Bechtel second. So that was for November. So
So just so you guys know, so I'm having to rewatch all of the council meetings to redo the minutes for the last few months. So if you guys would like me to do the same thing for parks, just let me know, and we can work that in.
Okay, yeah, no, that sounds good.
I'll make a motion to approve December 1st meeting minutes.
They look good to me. I'll second.
Okay, we have Tidy as a motion to approve minutes, Sarek as a second. Any discussion? Okay, we'll do the same thing. Commissioner Kessler, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sarek?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thompson, yes. Okay.
And Fraser.
And Fraser, excuse me. Not used to this.
Yes.
All right. Minutes approved. Okay. Financial report moved to next month. And we tabled December as well. Commissioner reports, 7. Who would like to go first?
Disc golf course straight. We're looking to do a community-wide, another tournament in the spring, and then also like a weekly, it's called bag tags, a weekly little tournament for all the locals. Like a Wednesday night, everyone meets and, you know, we all put your bag tags in. Therefore, whoever wins gets the lowest number. And then if you see somebody out on the course, you can challenge them for their tag and you beat them. As a lot of the other courses do the same thing. It's been asked to do here. So that's about it. We're just chugging along. I got all the information to help write a grant for the Oregon Parks, Oregon Lottery for this year, trying to do some stuff for the playground, skate park, and tennis court, pickleball, lighting, and stuff like that. So hopefully try to go for like $500,000.
Nice.
Right on. Commissioner Sarek, anything to report?
Nothing new in terms of the wetlands walkway. It's still in disrepair, and I think we're going to get to that as old business. As much as it's something I feel like we should. Thank you. I feel like we should do probably a walkthrough of Buffington to look for downed limbs and debris on the nature trail and make sure that that's passable.
Passable. We'll buy it. Nature trail's clear.
Great. Thank
And
you.
Buffington's clear. We had a tree go down in the skate park in the last one.
Yep.
Had 3 local kids and a dad jump in, and I gave the kids all community service hours. I signed up on 2 hours each for them, all high school kids. They bucked all of the wood out of the park for me. So
Terrific.
they at least put it off to the side. The dad cut it, and the kids just put it off, you know, so it's skatable. And then a mom went down yesterday and actually swept the entire school out.
I wanted to mention what Sierra has already brought to our attention, that the benches at Battle Rock continue to decay. And also I have it on reasonably good authority that there is a router at the visitor center. Whether or not it has connectivity to the internet, no. Okay.
So that was
That was Ziply.
Ziply, and they don't do, they only do the new Ziply fiber now. No longer do DSL anymore. That's what it was then. With Frontier, not even Ziply back then.
Okay.
Ziply bought Frontier, so they don't even offer the service that we once had.
I see. Thank you, Commissioner.
And then we reached out to Spectrum too to see if it's something that we could tap into above the lines. And they came back today actually with a quote of 20 something. It was like 18,000 and change, almost $20,000.
So what we looked at, myself and,
$18,000.
yes.
Yeah, that's how much they were charging us.
So Jessica or Commissioner Administrator Ginsburg and myself looked also into Starlink, because we could just put that on the roof of the building.
Right.
And that would service us, plus that would do our camera that Brand Fast wants to do. That's something we're actually looking into for that reason,
Thank you.
because we don't have to do anything else for any lines.
You can pay a lot of Starbucks subscription.
And the other thing actually that I was talking about today, Chief came up with an idea of us providing a possible cell phone based upon our cell phone plan with an iPad so that they can go ahead and get on the internet, shall it be needed, but possible a cell phone too, if we have the ability to add that into our plan.
I'm sure it's something we can do, but we haven't, it's something, it's fallen on deaf ears. There's been a lot of, because of the big tribal land there, that's the tribe that will allow us to do that.
The hotspot worked pretty well. I have a hotspot at my house because we can't get cell service up here. This is Commissioner Kessler, and so, like Jessica said, it's an extra cell line. You actually don't even need an iPad or a phone. You can just get the hotspot, and it works as a wireless mobile router. And I just keep it in my window. It's I think it's $200 a month or something, probably less.
We looked into the ultra high stuff with Starlink for the video that they had talked about.
Got it. Okay, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Cool.
Oh, and the wetlands thing, I'm sorry. Just one thing, I heard you say something about the wetlands interpretive walkway.
Yes.
So
We're going to be talking about that in just a few line items, if you want to wait or if you want to do it now.
I was trying to remember what the agenda said, but that's perfect.
Okay, yeah, 8C, we added it as 8C, so it'll
Okay,
be right
cool.
after the homeschool.
Okay,
Something
thank
like
you.
that. Okay, yep. And Commissioner Thompson, I'll report that I was attended with Kessler was in attendance for the city council meeting and just voiced, I went up and on behalf of Park, some of the frustrations. So I'll just report that.
Also, real quick for the city yesterday went out and cleaned up the community building outside, completely everything on it besides paint. The community building looks really good outside. They completely got all the brush, cut everything down hedgewise, all the bushes, so it looks like a building now. It doesn't look like some creepy place.
We'll just make sure that happens when it's not immediately before a VIP coming in town, and hopefully we can maintain accordingly.
Hopefully we can get it painted before the VIP gets in town.
Right. So that we have a beautiful home because we want a beautiful.
Yeah, no, we want it too.
All right.
We'd asked them, and then they had a free day with nothing going on. And they,
Okay. All right. So that's what for the good of the order. Took place. 8, moving on. Oh, wait, Commissioner Kessler, sorry. Don't mean to.
I do not have any updates on the skate park or boat ramps.
Okay, and Commissioner Frazier.
I feel like Commissioner Frazier's just rejoined us.
No, hey
I know she'll be working headlong on the playground thing, which is awesome. So,
Yeah.
All right.
Just want to say thanks for taking me back, and I'm pretty excited to be here. I obviously don't have anything to report right now, but I, I'm excited to get back into it. Obviously, I have some questions, and I'm just excited to listen to you guys and see what you've been doing and get rolling and rocking, and let's get through it.
Doctor. All right, item 8A, which is skating at community center building.
So Jessica will probably talk to us about this. Are you on, Jessica? You're muted if you are.
Well, you know what?
We have an email. We can come back.
Yep, all right, moving right along to item 8B, which is homeschool at the A-frame. Sierra, thank you for being here so what's the state of union on this? We want to see you in there, so.
Well, that's what I'm here to find out. You guys. So last night I met with the city council and it's kind of ping ponging back. And what I needed, the information that I needed was exactly what insurance, if the insurance was gonna be in our favor, and what exact insurance I would need to be signing up for, what the rental agreement would look like. And I believe those were the two biggest pieces. So liability and lease agreement. Another piece of the puzzle was rates, rental rates. Someone at city council had put forward that if there was not money exchange, that would reduce liability for the city. And I had kind of put forward the idea of maybe for all people using that building, creating some kind of work exchange, right? So number of hours allotted in the building equals number allotted community service in the park. Working from a list provided from the Parks Commission or a list created in collaboration. That was just brought up as a suggestion to help reduce liability for the city itself. So I'm here to hopefully figure out some of those pieces. Specifically, insurance I think is the biggest unknown.
Are we qualified to set insurance?
Yeah,
So the insurance was the same probably insurance that we had asked for the dog one, because it has to do with CIS. Is that right, Jessica?
Yes, that's correct. CIS requires that 2 million and 3 million in the aggregate.
That's the, because it has nothing to do with us, since we're the city, we have to go on what our insurance company that insures the city wants. So that's what it is. The same thing for like the dog thing that's gonna come up here just a little bit, which they're cool with it as long as she meets the criteria. CIS would be okay with it as long as she has no calls.
Okay.
Do we have a specific sheet that we can provide? I mean, she needs something in writing so that she could take it to an insurance agent and so that she can get the quote. I mean, we can't just tell her, hey, okay, you need 3 million aggregate. Like she needs some information.
Yeah, it's general liability, 2 million in the per occurrence, 3 million in the aggregate is what they had said that they require, just general liability.
Okay. Do we have that in writing?
It's actually in the packet on the front, on the page for the A-frame, if I remember correctly.
Okay. So Sierra, just take that to Murray Insurance or whoever. I mean, that's who I would suggest. I'm as a person, that's who I use, but you could use whoever, and they'll just give you the quote. And they usually, you can finance that stuff too if it costs too much, but that's the process you got to do. And then I guess come back to the city, not even us, to council.
Yeah, because we approved it at our level, correct, Jessica? We just said that.
Yeah, you guys had approved it at your level for recommendation to the council, and then we needed to just talk about the insurance, and then you guys need to give a recommendation on rate.
So, okay, so we just need to recommend that. Neither is the reason why CR.
Are we obligated to charge a rate? Because I really like this idea of community service. I know there's complications with volunteer tracking for things like workers' comp, Jessica. So is it easier to just set a rate and be done with it? Or is this something we can explore further?
So it's better to set a rate because a few different things. Recreational immunity does not apply inside, number one, any of the buildings. So then at this rate, if we do a rate, number one, I heard someone say something about the recreational immunity, but that doesn't apply. So then with the rate, I think, because then you're setting a precedent. And so then you would have other people that want to just have a birthday party in there, do something like that. And so you guys can recommend to the council whatever you guys want. I'm just saying from the last council meeting, there was a talk about that a little bit, but I know right now, like with the Rotary Club, think about that, we charge them a rate.
Sure.
And they're consistent, normal. So that's kind of the catch.
I'm not opposed to charging a rate. Thank you, Jessica. I just wanted to explore whether or not the
Right now,
in-kind work trade was even plausible. It sounds like it's more paperwork than it's worth.
Mhm.
So what do we think for a rate? Are we talking,
2 to 3 times a week is what she's asking. Right?
4 hours a day.
okay,
And your hours would be while the kids are at school pretty much.
Yeah.
It's during the week, not
9 to
during
1.
weekends, 9 to 1. So it's a time that nobody's in the park except for Sierra and other people at the park. And it might discourage some of our stuff, because I was gonna bring up some of my things for later on. Because I would love to get a camera system there, because we've been having a lot of trouble with kids, some choice individuals, some children
juvenile delinquent.
that are breaking tons of putters and tennis rackets and everything else. We have a local citizen who's been replacing them, but I'm sort of tired of him replacing them all. Because I know who the 3 kids are, so we see the thing. I think by somebody being that building.
I don't think we should charge a normal day rate if we're talking about a long-term lease,
No.
right? If Sierra's willing to be there for a year or two, I think you need
Right.
a favorable.
It's like a
rate for
monthly
repeat business.
rate.
Yeah, and I don't need numbers right now. You guys are
Well,
welcome.
Well, I think it'd help you if you
Okay,
did.
okay.
And
We said, but we need to just like,
Yeah.
we need to discuss the numbers so that we.
Okay.
So think about this, so right now for Rotary, before they had their, the system put in place, Greg, that we did, it was $40 a day. So just,
Well,
that's kind of,
Rotary, you know, gives out scholarships.
yeah,
So there's a big difference, you know what I mean? Like that's.
yeah, it is.
That's
That's just the only rate that I can think, right. That's just the only consistent rate that we have already out there. So that's why I was just kind of using that as here's what they do for Rotary. So you can use that, to go lower, higher, whatever you guys want.
The A-frame.
For a full 8-hour day,
Your
only $10?
your thing? Well, you're talking about your 4 hours. You said
Yeah,
4
but
hours.
you guys need to establish, right, a consistent rate for you
No,
that would apply
not-
across the board? Is that what you were talking
No,
about?
because it'd be 20, we talked about $25
Mhm.
to renting it out before as
For a
group.
day, yeah.
For a day, for like renting out for your birthday
Yeah.
party or something like that. So that's why I think it's like, I mean, it's discounted on a long-term basis.
Mhm.
It'd be up to, let's say $100 a month rent, because then that's,
Mhm.
3 times a week times 4 would be $70 on average.
Oh, that's more than reasonable.
so I mean, what as a consensus, I mean,
I mean,
$100 to $150
The building exists for the public, good, right? So we're
yeah,
not-
but
we're not
she's using
looking
it for her
a
own
profit,
stuff,
right?
so it's helping, her rent's pretty much gonna pay for the electricity and all the stuff she's
The water.
using. As long as it's not costing the city anything for her to have that's, it's costing us, I think it's very beneficial for her.
so if it's like $100 a month,
Mhm.
you'd be okay with that?
Well, but we have to
That's not
establish,
$10 a day.
well, we have
What
to,
I want to know is.
we have to establish, how many days per week.
Right.
Up to max.
Right,
max
for
of
the
3.
2 to 3 or 2
Maximum of
days
3 days a week.
maximum.
But I was thinking 3 days a week and offering free programming on Thursdays to participating families.
So
So I
let's
would
do
be
that.
offering some free offerings to the community.
120 at 3 times a week, you know what I mean? Just saying $120 for the month, and 3 times a week, you know what I mean?
That's a nice
40
visible number, yeah.
It's 30 bucks a week, you know what I mean? That's,
Two cheeseburgers and
that's,
fries.
that's $10 a day, pretty cheap, honestly.
Mhm.
And what kind of lease terms are we willing to consider at that sort of?
Jessica, what would you recommend that we can we say to give her, 120 at 3 times a week for up to a year, or what would you recommend, please?
I think she's asking for 2 years.
Well, let's start. Yeah, works out, we can send these, you know what I mean? Make sense?
Well, and I guess this might be a question then too. Did we want to do a management agreement? Maybe she can be the manager of the A-frame, and that could kind of work into it. Then we could work on to a deal from there too. Because then she could do, the maintenance, not the maintenance, but just kind of be like a manager type thing, kind of like the Rotary is of the Legion Hall and the community center. And then we give them a break for doing that. So that's an option
That
too.
makes sense.
I am all on board for that. So that would be if other people are looking to utilize
It's
the
something
space.
like, because that's
us
our ultimate goal.
more.
Our ultimate goal
Yep.
for the citizens to have the first
Hey,
party
Commissioner
like
Fraser
that.
here.
It's a great thing.
And I
Mm.
have a few questions just because I know I'm late to the game, and I also understand what Sarah is doing here in the community with the kids, and it's amazing, and I support her 100%. I would really love to see this like flourish for her. But I'm a little late again, so I do have a quick question. Is this, we're talking the A-frame, she's wanting to use it a couple days a week?
Yes.
For- It's 1 or 10 to 1, is that right?
9 to 1, 9 to
1.
1, up to 3 days a week. What was it? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
Okay,
Monday.
Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.
okay. Like, I mean, as far as I know, she's incredibly brilliant with the children. She does all sorts of activities outside of just being in one space. It's very active. It's very involved with the kids. She also, as far as I know, sorry if I'm speaking out from you, Sierra, but like,
No, I appreciate it, Sharon.
not like she's charging a lot for the schooling either. It's very involved. But it seems that I feel like there should be something we can do. And I know, Greg, you talked about like maybe getting like a grant, I think is what you said.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if that's not something we can do.
I missed that last part, Ciara. Do you mind repeating it?
Sharon, we didn't hear the end of what you said to us.
The camera went off. Is that a glitch on our part?
I think the baby's pushed the button.
Oh, no, our screen is green. We're green. Can anybody, Eddie, or can you still hear me?
I can hear you guys, but not the greatest. Just wondering. So, what was the rate that we were considering?
120 up to 3 times a week, so it's, $10 a day.
120. 120 a month.
Yes, for a month.
$120 a month is $10 a half day up to 3 times a week.
Okay. I mean, Sierra, no one asked Sierra what she thought was fair. We just gave her a number. So great bargaining.
No, I'll correct right there. I specifically asked her, would that be something for the 100 anyways, and then 120 was suggested. If that's okay. Okay. She's come around. I did ask her, Eddie, just so you know. To make sure that was doable on her part.
$100 for the 2, 120 for the 3. You know what I mean?
Okay. So, all right, now, so we're saying $120, and with the understanding that's Monday, Wednesday, Thursday. We want to do a 1-year trial then, or a 1-year lease, right? Sorry, 1-year lease. Yep.
So
And
so
then-
as long as she complies with the 2 and 3 million, and everything else, we can write something up for her. City council approved it, you know what I mean? Which city council sent it back to us, so they could approve it for more stuff. Should we make a motion for this, Jessica?
Yeah, just make a motion to recommend it to go to council then, and I'll see if I can get it on this agenda.
But I make a motion to have Sierra. Izumida. Speaker homeschool service, use the A-frame for a year time frame. $120 a month for 3 times per, maximum of 3 times per week.
I will second that motion.
I will third that.
What was
But
that?
I believe that we could maybe work out something better for her.
Come again now?
Well, she was saying, can we work out something better? I would love to continue the discussion of helping as a manager position in managing the A-frame building.
Okay.
To me, that would be a really great opportunity to really sweeten the deal.
We can do that. Does the $120 a month sound like obtainable thing to you or an unobtainable thing to you? Like, what's your feelings on being charged that much to use that building?
Well, I already have parents that have told me that if we move locations to be in a public setting, that I will have increased participation in program. And I would be changing. Right now, I'm prorating things for people, and if their kids are sick or if there's a holiday, I prorate.
Yeah, like,
And so that would change. So I have to change a little bit of the structure of how I'm financially operating the
but it's
program.
not like a
But,
huge financial,
no.
like $120 for
No.
a month.
Yeah.
That's pretty,
No, that's.
okay, this is,
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I appreciate your guys' concern.
I just want to make sure it's not, I understand you're not doing it for a ton of money. So, I just want to make sure that that's something that's sustainable.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, roll call. Oh,
Do we need to, did you in your motion,
And he seconded.
I know,
so we
in
need
your motion, did you require the dependency on the liability insurance?
Yeah, the dependency,
Okay.
yeah, dependency on the $2-3 million.
Thank you.
okay, so we'll start with Commissioner Kessler. How do you vote?
I'm gonna vote no because it's not because I don't support it. I think the price is fine, and I want Sierra in there. I want her to get her insurance quotes in order before I vote yes. So I'm just gonna vote no, not because I don't support it.
On the preference that she brings all of that stuff. So if she doesn't bring all of this stuff to council, then she's not gonna be on the agenda. Does that make sense?
Well, but then it's a complete waste of time anyway. So I'm just gonna keep my no vote.
Okay.
No, I'm just letting you know.
Commissioner Frazier, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Sarah?
Yes, sir, yes.
Commissioner Tidy?
Yes.
Commissioner Thompson, yes. Motion passes.
Awesome.
All right,
Okay.
I will submit to city council.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, as long as you have the stuff, that and we'll work on a lease and everything like that.
Okay, thank you for being here. Look forward to your being in the frame there. That's gonna be awesome. We are now to 8C, which is wetlands. So, Phyllis, do you want 2 chairs in there, by the way? Okay, all right. So Phyllis is speaking, Phyllis Johns is here to speak on the wetlands, and looking forward to your presentation.
It's going to be short and it's going to be pleasant because we all agree. Anyway, thank you for letting me come and speak to you. I know it's been a big problem getting worked in. For this presentation, I read this book by, and you all know because of the city council, and all about wetlands throughout America. It's discovering the unknown landscape. It was published in 1997. It's written about appreciating wetlands or destroying them. Basically, that is her thrust. I recommend reading all of you reading this if you haven't already. It's an older book, but it's still
Who's the author again?
and
Oh, really?
Yeah, our city council.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to talk about the definition of wetlands and the history in Port Orford of wetlands and the future, what we decide to do with them. And wetlands, according to the American Dictionary, is a lowland area such as a marsh that is saturated with moisture, especially thought of as a natural habitat. And examples in Port Orford are 25th and Jackson, there's one. There's one. Wales is considered one of these wetlands too at the visitor center, and of course the one on 101 that we're concerned with today. Now it's said that the history can only teach its lessons if it's remembered. So on the 30th anniversary of the inception of our wetland area, I will proceed. In 1993, Ellen Waring and Pat Rhodes led the project of developing an educational boardwalk over the best examples of a natural water purification system right in the city. Ellen and Pat put out a watershed newspaper regularly to inform the citizens of its projects. Unfortunately, ODOT used what money they had gathered for their project and used it for their approval application. So ODOT denied access from Highway 101. Money and his expert expertise in building and finished the project. Others joined in. The council was small, but the impact of the boardwalk was enormous. Steve Taylor, John Luthi, Lynn Smith, Joanne Ruloff, Pat Rhodes were some of the council members that worked on the formation of the boardwalk. As Velisas mentioned, we all know the way wetlands are appreciated and necessary, providing habitat, purifying water, providing nursery grounds for fisheries, storing floodwaters, recharging groundwater, as well as for aesthetic reasons. So every year at the beginning of Jubilee, the council would go and spruce up the area for the increased tourist use. There were some trees on the highway side that were widowmakers. And so I have some very great pictures of Derek taking his time, going up in the trees and taking care of that and taking down all of the widowmakers. I'll leave this here. It seemed the best thing we could do. We have no money as the Watershed Council, but Steve took Derek out for a beer, and that was basically how we got it done. And that seemed to be the way to get things done then, volunteer and working with help and willing helpers. Later in 2020, Karen took on ODOT, and somehow a stairway down from 101 to the trailhead was completed, with a large rock sporting a brass sign put on the sidewalk side, denoting the trailhead of the boardwalk. Fast forward to 2023. The boardwalk, as you know, has fallen into disrepair. Instead of appreciation, destruction has reared its ugly head. The metal has rusted out in many places. Some boards have rotted. The Watershed Council has aged, and we are no longer caretakers of the boardwalk. The city has taken on this responsibility. Linda Tarr and I went to the boardwalk, marked most of the dangerous parts, and recently I went before you, I think, and talked about the unsafeness of the area.
Yep.
And Brian and Clark immediately went to the site. Thank you. And we found that trash had been dumped into the water. The two men jumped in after it. And upon
one man jumped in.
And jumped back out.
Yeah.
That was my punchline. Yeah, and upon lifting up one sack, they both jumped out and took off. But they want a hazmat team to go in and take care of our purification system. But anyway, the importance of this landmark educational. How overburdened they are with projects and how overburdened you are. But I want to emphasize the history and hard work the boardwalk represents and the importance of its survival. I'll leave the solution of the destructors and the destroyers to you in the community of Port Orford with a call for input on solutions for caring from the caring community. One solution has already been mentioned by the Watershed Council member, Maury, and she said, let's preserve some of those beautiful 20-foot timbers, lumber that are still good. They've been out of the water, 2x6s, I believe. Bring them out, clear out the signs, and the good lumber constructed into a viewing area along the north side of the wetlands. When you drive into the driveway on your right-hand side, we could have the viewing area just going from east to west, not out over the water. And the signs initially, the educational signs would still be able to tell people what they were looking at. And I think this would discourage people from going out into the water, dumping or sleeping. So it might have a double purpose doing it that way, besides saving.
So we just need to,
So thank you for letting me speak on this matter.
Okay.
And,
Yeah, thank you for being here.
Yeah, I'm sure you.
thanks.
Thank you.
There's a
So Linda,
Can I get a picture of that as well?
do you have any, where we can get some like funding for this? You know what I mean? To get some of the, because it's gonna take a little bit of money to get.
Oh, I want to, so you're saying that this summer's the 20-year anniversary, is that right? Wait, what?
30-year anniversary.
The 30-year anniversary. Wouldn't it be cool to have something nice for Jubilee and such?
And that's why I asked at our last meeting, what budget is available for us to spend on this sort of thing. I realize we have other priorities for our last, 10-year goals or the grants we need to apply to. Watershed Council doesn't have budget.
I can tell you that on the 10-year Parks Master Plan, never had anything about watershed.
Watershed's in the master plan, the watershed walkway.
Really?
So we actually talked about this at the staff meeting, not this staff meeting that we had, but the last week ago. And the idea came to us that the school probably the high school has a wood shop and or shop teacher. And so we are trying to find out if they do, which I was told that they possibly do when I talked to Tim. That having the high school kids participate and replace some of those boards as part of their shop class and start to clean up that as part of their little give back and community volunteer hours that they need to have when they graduate.
That's a great idea, Jessica. I think 80%, and I'm not a carpenter, but I would estimate 80% of the lumber is salvageable. The crux of the issue is that the steel supports underneath the beams have rusted. I think that, there's no need to purchase all that timber anew, but we definitely need to make it safe to walk on if we're going to reopen it or reconfigure it.
Yeah, so that's why we wanted to talk to the high school, the shop teacher, because we thought these kids then could, kind of get back to their community before they graduate, do a lot of that stuff, and then anything else we can go back to our contractors for.
You have any general thoughts?
I pitch in a weekend of labor. I think my concern was if we were going to try to get bids for the job and have it done professionally, that's a completely different proposition. So that's a nice idea. Thank you.
And I think just a push to try to see something. I mean,
It's something
it might be easier, honestly, I don't know, to redo some of those brackets, et cetera, versus putting in a whole different location thing. I mean, but what would it take?
But we need someone with some expertise on building that sort of.
It was all volunteers who put that in. It was all volunteers who put that in.
I don't know, to be honest.
Well, no, the people who put it in the audience.
Jessica, I love that idea. I think that's awesome. Also going forward with that is something that to think about if they do that kind of stuff. It's their volunteer work. They actually signed off paperwork for only volunteer work, but after their activities. So it would also, even if we did supply product to the room like that, it would really benefit them as well.
Yeah, because I think the elementary school takes care of the other wetlands walkway on the other side, if I remember correctly. The class that we deal with for 5th graders every year. And so then then I thought this would be a good idea for the high schoolers because then they kind of can leave their mark before they, venture off into life.
It would be a wonderful, group project.
And your school board member as well, right? So there's some tie-in to Pacific High School. Good.
For a little engraved.
And Eddie, thank you.
We have,
Eddie, I'm sorry, you're on mute. I'm sorry.
Before the wetlands walkway was closed due to safety concerns, I remember that there were some citizens who were worried about the camping that was happening there. And I was wondering, I know that the city has some sort of homeless task force. I was wondering if there was any mid to long-term solution so that if we repair it, it doesn't just turn back into a transient camp and dumping area.
So
Go ahead,
Well, yeah,
Jessica.
and first of all, the city doesn't have a homeless task force. That is something that's totally run by neighbors, and we don't have anything to do with it. So, we'll just first of all that, and then the only thing that we can do is continue to do what we do right now. Is they're not allowed to stay overnight at Ray's and stuff like that because we still have to abide within the new laws that were put out there. But with it being wetlands, if they continue or decide to try to go down there, we have a little bit more protection. And I've been in contact with someone with regards to that since it kind of came to fruition. It got worse and worse. So we possibly have a little bit more leg room to kind of push them out of there, but we're still working with this. I'm actually working with the state on that, the person who does our wetlands mapping, and I were
Thank you.
talking about it.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
I would just like to say Phyllis, if you were to be a regular catalyst for something, especially towards the 30th anniversary, I think that'd be wonderful.
Mhm.
And what that would exactly look like is finding out what really get the contract
Well,
in there to know.
But Phyllis's point is that the wetlands walkway was built through this joint effort. And if you go down there and you look at the sign, it's like City of Port Orford, ODOT, US Highway Department, or whatever. And so it was a group effort with a lot of stakeholders, and then basically handed over to the city for us to maintain and to keep operational.
Yep.
And that's why it's on the Parks Master Plan, is it's considered part of our trail system.
Copy.
And so, Phyllis has brought us a wonderful history, but I
Right.
I think it's her responsibility to be the catalyst to actually get it, prepared. I think
It's us.
for better or for worse,
Yeah.
it's on us. Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, don't let us forget, Clark.
I try to remind you. everything.
Okay. No, and you are doing well with that. Appreciate that. But this note to self, I would love to see something for the 30th.
We don't support school work.
And that's something I think you guys can work with Jubilee on, because I'm sure they can come up with something too.
Okay,
Okay.
we can bring that up to Commissioner Hile.
Okay. Well, thank you for the history and
Thank you,
for
ladies.
your time.
Enjoy your evening.
Thank you. 9, we're going into,
We should loop back to 8 since we.
Roger Dodger, 8A, skating in the community center building.
Jessica has all the info. I mean, she has the email from CIS and everything else
Mhm.
laid out. And in the email, we even explained, that most of the kids, most of the kids there all bought their own skates. So there's not rental skates, but there's free skates given out.
Yeah, people have donated money and
Helmets,
skates.
So I was looking at the email about what the CIS woman had asked about, some of her questions for the facility use, so like that. So, did she get back to us at all, Jessica?
She did not. She's out of the office, but she will physically be in my office next Wednesday
Okay.
for some safety committee stuff. And so if she's still out of the office, at least I'll see her then, I know for sure.
So I would love to even maybe try to be there, because on there it even says that she would have to come look at the building. If you read her email, she said she would
Yeah.
like to, additionally, under facilities use and safety, the second paragraph says additionally I need to do an inspection of the facility. So that was, you know what I mean? So if she's going to be in the area, it'd be pretty awesome to.
Yeah, I think the big thing for you guys is to kind of come up or think about, and next month you guys could have whatever you guys want to do, but a set of rules. Like, for instance, a helmet's needed or any of those things. But then on top of that too, we have to come up with, if we're going to have because we have to have an employee do it, we're going to have to send them for different type of first aid training and stuff like that too. So all that stuff needs to be just noted.
There's a first aid training here in Port Orford.
It's a wilderness first aid training. I'm not sure it would satisfy the insurer.
Okay, but we have 2 employees that have city employees have voiced interest that they would like to be the person in charge of that. You know what I mean? So we've also, the mayor and Jessica had also authorized overtime for those 2 employees. So there's money set aside for this. The city wants to get this done.
Okay.
There's that very important to our citizens, their kids, even the adults who have I see a ton of adults there.
I will bring a draft proposed set of rules to the next meeting. If we need to draft that up, I can come up
Roger,
with that.
that'd be amazing. That way we can have it. If we can give it to Jessica before the meeting, so we have a packet. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
That way we can just look at it and we can all say, tweak this, and this.
All right.
So, and then, and that'd be great because with Jessica's meeting with us a little bit next week, we can find out stuff that can be in the rules that she may say we need to have, not need to have, and everything else. So that works out great.
Excellent.
But I know from the city standpoint, the city council, it was pretty big. And all the councilors want this to happen. Understand it's a very big thing for the community and saw how much this was well received. We're looking to make it right. So.
Yeah, and we just have to make sure with all the projects, all these type of things, that we just do it the right way so that everyone's covered. No one is left out to dry or any of the above.
Always happy to do it the right way, Jessica.
It was unfortunate the way it went down, but we're trying to move forward so that it doesn't happen.
All right, I will then, as an action item, draft a set of proposed rules. I'll send it to Jessica as soon as possible, and we can discuss.
Roger that.
Yeah, and if you want to, Clark, when she's here for the meeting that I have with her, then let me know and I will, and if you want to come and join us, then you're more than welcome to, if you have questions about different things that she might ask.
Yeah, if it's during business hours, it's going to be tricky, but I'm of course interested. I just work 8:30 to 6 usually.
Okay. Yeah. Well, she'll be here for a while, for actually 3 Wednesdays in a row. So, yeah, she'll be here for a few Wednesdays. Yeah, but
break or something then. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can just figure it out. But yeah, I will let you know.
This is Commissioner Kessler. So is this individual going to actually go inspect the building?
Yes, she has to.
Okay. And are we, does everyone feel confident that she's going to give us the okay, or because I'm kind of feeling like she might go in there and say that the city might not even be able to have this building open. Like I don't.
That's always. So the building inspector by the county inspected it a while ago, so I'm not worried about that. She's just analyzing the building for risk, because we're going to have to get a new policy and see how much that's going to cost to be able to even do this.
Okay.
All right. Anything else on skating? Y'all good? All right. 9A, dog training classes. There's nobody even here to represent that.
So Pamela from planning actually had submitted this to the council meeting, so you guys know, and she has a new puppy and she found someone who does dog training classes and they wanted to set up to do dog training in Port Orford. So I attached the website to her in the little packet of where she is. So I'm just letting you know that that's what she was proposing to everyone. So we decided at the last city council meeting that should go to Parks.
Council decided that we want us to make the Parks Commission to see if that's something we want our building to be used for, or could be used for. And if we want that, then we can send it to council. Council could approve it. It was the same liability, same as Sierra, and what else?
General liability.
Same thing, and CIS. This is what CIS gave Jessica saying. So if they comply with this, would we be okay with once, twice a month? And it would be for the community, I'd be charging it,
I would rather have well-trained dogs in the community than untrained dogs.
So my thing is,
we need to support that by making public spaces available at a reasonable rate.
We have rates already established. So she'll be paying the rate established, the day rate established. Everything else, but that's part of it. It's just because
Asking for, is that inside the community building?
Yes, it's going to be inside the community center building.
So I've heard a number of concerns on this, and I'll just cite those now, hearing from the community. One is, if you have some untrained dogs together, what's the risk to the city if there's fights, etc. What is one of the things of, if they do go poop, that's a concern. So
When they
I'm,
go poop, yeah.
Urination and everything else.
Right.
That would be
so
something
I'm just fielding what I've heard from.
And just like the other concern that we had talked about too at the city council meeting was, since Rotary does food in the American Legion Hall right there, but then also in the community center for their crab feast, what
No, we're not preparing any food. You're not preparing any food or cooking any food.
they do in the Legion Hall though, so that I don't know how that, but someone brought that up at city council, so I'm just relaying the message.
Thank you,
Mhm.
Jessica.
I want to reiterate, we are talking about having dog training inside a building, correct?
Yes.
Kessler.
So why not use like Buffington Park or something?
From the understanding that I got from the person who's requesting it, is they said on those rainy, nasty days during the winter.
Yeah, I mean, all the the liability risk is like fine because they're gonna have the insurance, and like if someone gets bit or there's untrained dogs or there's damage, like that's what their insurance is for. But there is real concern like with like allergies and food, and if we do have events, I don't know. I think it is worth the discussion. We should keep discussing it tonight.
I love Pamela more than anything. She's an amazing person in this community, and I'm just going to do this, but I'm gonna go ahead and just put a vote right now.
Yeah, and I could not make out any of that. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. I absolutely adore Pamela in this community, and she's amazing. She's been a neighbor, a friend, everything in between. I know this is going to come bite me in the butt too, but I don't think there is any reason why there should ever be dogs in a community building, especially indoors, for training. I don't think it's right. There is absolutely no reason why we need to be training a bunch of puppies and dogs indoors if they're
All
not
right, that we heard. So thank you for the clear
trying
communication.
food and
I think we're gonna have to table this. We started the discussion, and now we're gonna move on to 9B, budget wish list. So projects and goals going into fiscal year 2024 budget cycle. So basically, it's approved this summer, late June?
That's when that'd be.
It's approved in May for the June, because it starts July 1st.
Okay, so it's approved in May. So this is hey, heads up, be thinking of big ticket wish list items that, big ticket being
$5,000.
No, playground
No.
materials, 60,000. You're thinking big ticket in your master plan.
Yeah, it's not.
Because
So
what this is, what this does is, if you guys decide to puts a big ticket item on your budget, I can only go up to a certain dollar value without going to city council. If it goes in the budget and it's over the dollar value that I have, it's automatically approved because the city council approved the budget. So we don't have to go to that extra step. And so the whole thing is this will help you guys move forward and get the big ticket items you guys would like to have done. And then we can earmark those funds, like we had said, and they will go just directly to whatever that project is. And so with those big ticket items, what you want to do is, between now and the next month or so, is research what goes into those items and how much it would cost to get every little nut and bolt and anything that you need for those big ticket items, and bring all that information to me, so then I can put it into the budget. And like I said, once the budget's approved by council, there you go. You guys got your money earmarked.
Any questions on that front, guys? Okay. What, I know this is an ongoing thing. We got to meet
I can't, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I can't hear anything.
Neither can I. Hello, city.
Oh. Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can't hear Brian or Greg. Are you guys there? Hmm.
Oh boy. I'm texting Brian.
Okay. Technical difficulties. Please hold. Do.
Oh, Clark said tech problems. Well, why can we hear each other?
Check 1, 2. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Now you can.
Yay.
Okay. So what I was saying was that in regard to fiscal stuffs, that apparently the money for playground was somehow rolled into general at the fiscal because and so
Here, I'll try to explain it so I don't know. When the income, so the money for the playground, the 26,000, whatever it was in change, is on the balance sheet for on the income statement for 22, I'm sorry, for FY 22. When that balance sheet closed for FY 23, when that income statement closed, it goes to the balance sheet into retained earnings. The income statement then goes to zero. Every beginning July 1st of every year, it goes to zero. And so we had chatted, and we're working on getting a parks fundraiser bank account, possibly is the best way that we could kind of figure out to pull that out so that you guys can see those funds just hanging out there. But that's what happens with any sort of income that you guys get, is it automatically at the end of the fiscal year, the income statement goes to zero, and all of the money, whatever it is in the income statement, balances out into the retained earnings.
and so the discussion that Mayor and you and I had last week was that rogue account related to this, so that it is its own account, which I think Ciaran was under the thought that that's how it was, but apparently it wasn't that. So it sounds like money is there. We just, and hopefully for next month with the financials, we could see an explicit line item that won't roll, hopefully.
Yeah, we just need to pass a city council resolution to open up a new bank account. And then at that point, and then add another resolution for all the signers, and then turn around and give that information to Rogue to get it opened.
Okay.
May I chime in and ask a question here?
Go for it. Floor is yours, Commissioner Frazier.
Okay, yes, thank you, sorry. We did a lot of fundraising, and I thought that we had a separate account for the fundraising. Is that not correct?
No, we are not allowed to open up separate accounts for fundraising unless the city council approves it. So that's why it has to go to city council. It's always been sitting in the bank account, just hanging out there, but it's not in its own separate account. We have a few different bank accounts, other ones for the city, but not its own separate parks fundraiser.
I thought we did have a park fundraiser account.
Nope, we've always only had one checking account at Rogue, and then everything else is in our LGIP account for the city.
Okay.
Sarah, didn't you have your own account there that was the park fundraiser? Didn't you give the money to the city?
Yes, she gave it to the city.
I got a check for them, right?
Yeah, Ciaran dropped off checks and stuff like that from the Rogue one that she had, yeah.
No, not Rogue. I dropped off personal checks and lots of cash.
Okay, that's what it was. I wasn't sure. I was trying to remember when we were talking.
That specifically, anytime anyone ever made a check, I made sure that they wrote the check out to, not the city, but with fundraiser.
Parks fundraiser. Yeah, and so, but then we can still deposit it into the general account.
That was
But
something.
it's sitting there. It's just sitting there hanging out waiting.
So it's just waiting to get somewhere. Do
Yeah, it's
something.
just hanging out in there right now. So it's just hanging. But that's why I said was what we'll do is as soon as the city council passes the 2 resolutions for that, then we have to turn around and work with Rogue on getting that account set up.
Okay.
Okay.
How come we didn't have an account set up with Rogue when we started the fundraiser?
Because it would still have to be passed by city council, and the decision, city council has been very adamant for a few years that we wanted to just stick with one there. So I'm not quite sure what was done in the past, but my assumption is that it's always been the same way, that they've only had the one account for all other fundraisers also. We keep track of the funds on the balance sheet and the income statements, so we know where all the funds, even for grants and stuff like that, we don't have separate bank accounts. It's all tracked.
Okay. I understand that. I was just curious why didn't we have one just specifically for the parks fundraiser, like, or the playground fundraiser? Like, I thought that's what we had.
No, that's something that that I know that they've never done since I've looked in the financials history for a long time, and so I haven't seen anything since I think 2015.
Okay. That's fine.
So
We'll all figure it out, I guess.
they're gonna then vote on that. Do you need something from us now, Jessica, to that end, or is Pat?
No, it's just going to go to city council because I had talked to Sam already. So it's on the tentative agenda right now for city council.
Okay. Okay.
Commissioner Thompson, this is Commissioner Kessler. I want to let you guys know I have to go. I just picked up my daughter, and I'm gonna just it's time for me to get off the call.
Hey, thank you, Eddie, for being on, and
right.
we're wrapping up right now. But yep, we got it. Thank you
Bye-bye.
for your time. All right, 10 citizens considerations. Anybody want to speak as citizens? Commissioners considerations can be.
I'm sorry, one quick question. Are you guys just going to kind of come up with your own list for wish list and then talk about it the next meeting?
For next meeting, let's at least have 1 to 2 from each of us for what we feel for the next big budget item. That would be nice. Look at our parks master plan to see what hasn't been done up until this point, because we're 7 years into this thing.
And to be honest, the sooner that I get the budget wish list items, the easier it is for me to work into the budget rather than last minute budget changes before my budget meetings.
February meeting would be nice if we had some stuff to talk about to narrow it down to 1 or 2, so that we could move forward into the February one, so we could have it really feel better.
So if everybody came with 2 wish list items as ideas, and we'll discuss them next month. Yeah, got it. Okay. And then said something about wish list. Well, go for it. It's still standing to get the complete itemized list of those items from May of 2022 in hand. I think we now have 3 trash cans and some soccer balls, right?
The trash cans.
There's 5 soccer balls, and the soccer goals are sitting in the green room over there.
Very cool. Can I come get those tomorrow and start assembling?
I don't see any reason why not, but they're sitting in there. And then what we're going to do is, I thought when we had talked, Brian, is that we were going to put that with the financial section so you guys can see that. And that's why I wanted to wait till I got the information from Mayor Cox that we had talked about.
Okay. All right. I'm going to move on to item 11, which is future meetings, Thursday, March 2nd, 6 p.m.
Oh, I want to see about maybe with Sierra, especially going into the apron and everything else, and the vandalism and everything else, maybe getting a 2 to 3 camera security system for the apron. I know we have one of them, but that's been literally, I've been waiting for that to get internet, because we can't do anything with it until we get internet. So at least that was,
I would say, for the outside.
Well, yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. The doors, front front door, side door, and then one facing towards the parking lot area, in a sense, where the putt-putt and tennis racket shack is,
Okay.
because of the vandalism. Right. Do anything else, because of the vandalism, it's becoming rampant.
So
Or to this next budget item, under $500,000. That we can go back to and say, hey, we need to bring this police. But I would like that because the park's being used so much more now.
So, Counselor, I just wanted to let you know, Counselor Tidy, that I actually have a security person coming to City Hall. I think it's Thursday of next week because we're talking about the cameras around City Hall, and we're going to go tour all the buildings and
Okay.
get the system all together because we need to do that and the keys and the locks and stuff too.
Cool. Yeah, that'd be great. Because like I said, even just a small 2 to 3 camera system for that building would behoove us for safety issues too.
And we're going to try to link them all to mine and the police officers' phones so that if there is anything, then they are automatically alerted when
Cool.
there is something that happens that should not be.
Cool. All right, that sounds great. That'd be great. That was my one concern for the park. Everything else is that, and then looking at Battle Rock too, the side of Battle Rock, the big, this at that last storm, the city workers came and fixed it for me, but it was leaning sideways pretty good. So we'll probably have to figure out, it'd be nice to try to get that redone before 4th of July, just like Sierra said. So that's something we need to look forward to, is the benches and everything else, trying to revamp some stuff for us.
Well, I know we approved budget for benches, and it sounds like we're waiting on the tribe. We can put it in.
Yeah. That and this won't bind. Yeah, but it was more of the tribes, mostly to do with the tribe.
But we have the benches.
No, we don't have the benches. Nothing. None of that. But we'll have some line items for next.
And the benches we have to still work with the tribe on too, because some of them are actually permanently in the ground.
Right, that, the working with the tribe part I get. I thought we bought benches in May of last year along with barbecue pit.
We had John look at some and choose some weatherproof ones that we had looked at. And then Cassandra and actually left the tribe. And that's why I was working on a few different things with Battle Rock. And she left, I think, I'm going to say September, October. I don't remember when. I'd have to look at my email. And so then a lot of that stuff, because we have 2 other benches that literally disintegrated that we had to try to move. And so we were trying to kind of figure out how to do all those, because without the people who originally put the benches out there, they had attributed their cost, or I think just kind of worked with the tribe and put them out there from my understanding. But these benches are costing like $1,000 almost a piece to put out there so that they sustain, but that's a big cost to the city at that point for all those different benches. So we were trying to kind of work with them and see which ones are the worst ones off and see if we can just replace those first and go from there. And then there's that really heavy one, I think, that you guys moved into the community center the visitor center, right, Greg?
Yeah. Yes.
So then that one too is that one I know is in really good shape, but it can't go outside because someone wanted that to go outside.
Yeah,
So it's been a bench nightmare.
So we'll look forward.
We're revisiting the items that were approved in that May, including those benches, because we had
We were approved, they were never purchased.
And the other thing too, is I just want to bring up too with the visitor center, Jim Hayjack, is that his name? Hayzak? I don't remember, but he used to be in charge of visitor center years and years ago, I guess. So he had come into my office last week, and he actually called me today because he would like to help to get the visitor center up and running not 24/7, but all year round, not even only during the winter, during the summer. And so I'm not quite sure what or how and all that fun stuff. So that's something, if you guys want me to, I can give you guys I can give him you guys' information or what you guys want to do with regards to that. But he, I guess, was a big deal, or used to love to volunteer there a long time ago.
banking 14 ounces